This was only when we started building.
Oh, okay.
The camera we had at the time, and maybe 6 feet apart.
Okay. Can people see?
They can see the, I make sure that I put that in when I changed the view of the camera. I'm sure they can see it past
Can you all see the candles? Okay, just check it, because there's a big old back piano right in the middle of the view. I don't know if that's anything to you. Well, we're about a minute out or two. I have no clue. Sure, I didn't look at the board. The board should have it on there. Yeah, in the office. In the office. It's near Leia's desk. There's two blackboards, one of them's there. Hi Arlene, how are you? Good. I'm okay. Uh-oh, wait a minute, my talk isn't here. Uh-oh, hold on a second. I gotta run and get some. Don't start without me.
Hey, how are you? Here I am. I'm all right. How are you? I just got rid of 9 guests.
You must be exhausted.
9 guests in my house for 9 days.
And you're supposed to be in it? That is a commitment. It's a lot of people.
9 in my house and 4 more at a hotel. So. Wow. When I put the last one on the airplane today, I went, bye.
Here's your hat. But you're right. No, that's a lot of work.
Especially my nieces who leave all their garbage in the bedrooms that they have.
I don't think I was any better at that age. My wife trained me.
Oh, no, they have kids of their own. They should be better.
Oh, maybe that's the reason.
Yeah.
You know, when you get that, I'm trying to give them excuses, but when you have kids that you just can't clean up after.
Being on Thursday, my daughter-in-law is so, I mean, she takes the sheets off my grandson's bed and puts it all back on and washes them and puts it back on.
Oh.
I have a wonderful daughter. But
I have two sons who have been wonderful.
both my sons have very nice work, but my one son is in Europe, and she's from Slovakia. And it's, it's a culture, it's a very different,
European.
It's a very formal relationship. Whereas my daughter-in-law in Austin, I could never know she were my own. It's just a different relationship.
Oh, it's totally different. It's totally different. Yeah. Wait, I heard my letter.
Uh-oh.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Fancy meeting you here.
Yeah, I know. You ready to go?
Definitely.
Oh, let's rock and roll.
Do we have a little mic, a hand mic? Oh, there it is. I'm going to do one warm up and then you're ready with the candy.
Okay.
I'm just covering pages. You all get to sing.
Well, you get to sing
It's
too.
my job.
Let's see if I can figure this out.
This weather, it's a miracle, right?
What do you mean?
So, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome, welcome.
Select?
If it's not steaming hot, it's pouring rain. It's just commenting that it's almost a year that we moved in, just a few days shy of a year, and at this point last year it was 100 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. That's, Brian tells me, is really how it's supposed to be, right? As opposed to 70-something degrees, and people are putting jackets on. It's so rainy and cool. So anyway, but we're glad we're here. It is a warm and toasty and spirited here in the sanctuary. So we are going to get started this evening with some anigun and some, I don't know, what do you want to call it?
Yeah.
Song to get us going.
Definitely.
As we go through our Kabbalat Shabbat this evening.
Yes. Do you remember that Clairol commercial? The closer you get, the better.
What was that one? The closer she gets, the better. I don't even know what that was. But the closer I get, the better you look. How's that sound? Remember that from the 60s? Clairol. Okay, well, I would love you to put your hands together like this. Lie, ya, la, 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 ya, la, 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 ya, la, follow me. Ya, la, 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 clap, clap, ya, clap and la, 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 ya, la, 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 ya, la, 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 ya, la, 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 ya, la, 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 la. Try it. La, 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 ya, la, 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 ya, la, 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 ya, la, 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 ya, la, 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 la. Ya la la la, add some words. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha nehedar ba'kodesh. No ratehilot, oh sehifele. No ratehilot, oh sehifele malchut. ראו בניך בוקי הים לפני משה. Keep the beat going. זה אלי ענו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Back to the beginning now. Lie, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la. Lie, la, lie, lie. Sing a little softer. Lie, la, lie, la, lie, la, lie. Yeah, lie, lie, la, lie. Yeah, la, lie, 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 lie. Well, we're going to sing that for the Micha Mocha a little later. Did you get it? We're going to try to learn one tune every blue moon. Does that sound okay? One tune every blue moon. This community has a beautiful tradition, and we want to honor that. Let's do one more song. This one, I don't know if you know Rick Recht. Yes. How many people have heard of Rick Recht? Rick Recht. Say that fast. Rick Recht, Rick Recht, Rick. Okay. Just trying to have a little fun. It's Shabbat. Let's loosen up a little bit. Now, Rick Recht has this great song called Hava, Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. Try it now. Hava, Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. Then it goes Hava, Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. Back to Hava, Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. Hava, Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. Put your arms around your nearest neighbor, the imaginary neighbor if you're alone, or you could put your arms around me. I'll just grab you over there. Let's all sing. Hine matovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Rabbi, do you know it as a round?
Maybe.
All right, you start, and everyone on this side of the aisle, Team A, raise your hand. Team A, you sing with the rabbi.
Good. I'm not
Team
so
B, we're a
like
little less in numbers, but we're mighty. We are mighty. All right, Rabbi, why don't you kick it off? Arlene, you could join me over here.
All right.
Do it in your key, Rabbi, whatever key you like.
I don't know. Why don't you get started with a key?
The key of Z. I love that.
Hine matov manayim
With the rabbi.
shevet achim gam yachad. Hine
Stick
matov
with the rabbi.
manayim shevet achim gam yachad.
Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov manayim
shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov
shevet
שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד.
That round was so beautifully done. Did you hear the harmonies?
Helping.
This is a very harmonic, harmonious congregation.
Very cool. All right. We are going to get started formally with our Kabbalat Shabbat, I believe. Shalom Aleichem. Does that sound right? With Shalom Aleichem as thank you. We got us going now tonight. You realize now you're stuck harmonizing the rest of the service. Okay. Page 5 at the bottom, you'll find Shalom Aleichem as we join together as Arlene leads us.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bachuni Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch.
Rise as we turn back to page 4. There you'll find the bracha, the blessing for lighting the candles, which we have kindled already, but we will say the bracha together. We've moved them back. Those of you wondering, the air conditioning was blowing them out throughout the service. So this way we can enjoy them and they can stay kindled as they should. So page 4 at the bottom.
Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlikne v'tzivanu lahadlikne v'tzivanu lahadlikne
Shabbat Shalom. You are welcome to be seated. You'll find the beginning of Kabbalat Shabbat, formal Kabbalat Shabbat. We've already started it with some different tunes this evening to get us into the mood to welcome in the Sabbath with a sense of spirit and joy. Page 11, you'll find Lechune Ranina, again as Arlene leads us.
Lechune Ranina, Lechune Ranina, Lechune Ranina, Ladonai. Lechune Ranina, Lechune Ranina, Lechune Ranina, Ladonai. Naria, Naria, Litzuri Shenu Nikadma Fana Bitoda. Naria, Naria, Litzuri Shenu Bismirot Naria Lo. Lechune Ranina, Lechune Ranina, Lechune Ranina, Ladonai. Lechune Ranina, Lechune Ranina, Lechune Ranina, Ladonai. Lechune Ranina, Lechune Ranina, Lechune Ranina, Ladonai. Lechune Ranina, Lechune Ranina, Lechune Ranina, Ladonai.
On page 16, you'll find the words Or Zarua as we talk about light throughout our holiday, throughout Shabbat. We think about light is sown for the righteous and joy for the upright. Our holiday of Shabbat is indeed a holiday of light and joy. Page 16, 4 lines from the bottom.
Or Zarua, La Tzadik, Uyishre Lev Simcha. Or Zarua, La Tzadik, Uyishre Lev Simcha. Or Zarua, La Tzadik, Uyishre Lev Simcha. Uyishre Lev Simcha. Or Zarua, La Tzadik, Uyishre Lev Simcha. Uyishre Lev Simcha. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Or Zarua, La Tzadik, Uyishre Lev Simcha. Or Zarua, La Tzadik, Uyishre Lev Simcha.
On page 20, 3 lines from the bottom, you'll find the end of Psalm 99 as we join together the words Romamu, bottom of 20.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lahar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lahar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lahar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lahar kodsho.
On page 21, you'll find Psalm 29, Mizmor LeDavid. We have the tradition to rise as we sing this psalm. Every service, besides Kabbalat Shabbat, has an Amidah, standing prayer, except Kabbalat Shabbat. And this psalm has always stood as our Amidah, if you will, as we acclaim God, as we listen for God's voice, and we talk of the voice that we listen for in the world as we seek to know God. So page 21.
Mizmor leDavid, havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, havu l'Adonai, kavod v'aoz, ay, 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 havu l'Adonai, v'od shemo, ishtachavu l'Adonai, b'atrat kodesh, Kol Adonai hamayim el hakavod kirim Adonai al mayim rabim Kol Adonai Bakoach Kol Adonai behadar Kol Adonai shover arazim V'shaber Adonai et azeh havanon V'yarkidem kmo egel Livanon V'sirion Kimo ven remi maya Kol Adonai chotze lavodesh Kol Adonai yachil midbar Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh Kol Adonai yacholel ayalot Vayechesof Yarot Uvechalo Kulo Omer Kavod Ay, ay, ay Adonai Lama Buyashav Yeshev Adonai Melech le'olam Adonai Oz Le'amo yiten Adonai Yivarech Amo v'shalom Ay, ay, lai, ay, lai, lai Ay, lai, 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 lai Ay, lai, 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 lai I lie.
You are welcome to be seated. We turn to page 23, where you will find Lecha Dodi, our hymn that welcomes in the Shabbat as a bride or queen, a beautiful regal image coming into our midst. We will do as the Kabbalists do, and that will be to turn and face the door for the very last verse as we, again, welcome in the Sabbath bride or queen. But we will start on page 23, the first two verses, the middle verse on 24, and the final verse, two verses.
What verse?
Oh man, I almost got it. The final verse on page 25. I'll key you in when we get there to rise and face the door. But we join together on page 23.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala P'nei Shabbat nikabela Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Hishmianu el hameyuchad Adonai echad U'shemo echad l'shemu tiferet V'helitila lecha Dodi likrat kala P'nei Shabbat nikabela
השבת לכוונך כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נשוך סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה שבת נקבלה.
Middle of 24.
התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי 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 שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי לקראת כלה הנה שבת
We rise and face the door for the last verse on 25.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמונה עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה.
You are welcome to be seated. Page 27, you will find the psalm for Shabbat. Again, as Arlene leads us, and we join with her.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות עלי עשור ועלי נבל עלי היגיון בכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך במעשה ידך אדהנן. מה קדמו מעשיך אדוני מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון.
Shkoach. Page 28, you'll find the concluding part of our 92nd Psalm, our Psalm for Shabbat, Tzadik Katamar. We join together.
Tzaddik Tamar Yivra Ke'eretz Bavanon Yizkei Shetuli Beveit Adonai Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrihu Od Yanuvun Beseva Deshenim Verananim Lahagid Ki Ashar Adonai Tzuri Velo Avlatabo.
Page 29.
Erotecha ne'emunu me'od lehevercha nahava kodesh Adonai la'orech yamim.
All those reciting Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish, you'll find it on page 30. Those reciting, if you'll rise and join with me. Page 30. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah Bi'alma divrach irute v'yamlich malchute B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam olomei olmaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha, brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May be seated. We say Yesher Koach to Arlene for guiding us through a beautiful Kabbalat Shabbat. We're going to pause for a Devar Torah for just a minute, and then we'll go into our evening service. So again, Yesher Koach, Arlene. So, all right, well, I'm going to give away a little bit of my dating here. How many of you are MASH fans? Yeah, okay, we got a few hands. You know, the television show or the movie, if you wanted to start off with a movie. So a while back, I saw an episode of one of my favorite shows, one of my favorite television shows in particular was MASH. And, you know, as a clergy person, I certainly, when I watch the reruns, I always take to the my clergy colleague on the show, which is Father Mulcahy, right? So to set the scene for this, Father Mulcahy is sitting at the bedside of a young wounded soldier. The soldier's rather upset, and he says that he cannot possibly go back to the front and rejoin the fighting, but not because he's afraid of his responsibilities as a soldier. So Father Mulcahy is puzzled, and he asks the young man, "Why is it that you can't return to your unit?" The soldier answered, "You see, Father, when I was sitting in the foxhole being fired upon, I made a promise to God. I promised that if I survived this attack, I would become a priest. The problem is, Father," the young man continued meekly, "I don't really want to be a priest, but how can I not fulfill my vow to God?" Father Mulcahy, and if you know the show, he always has some clever and wise answer. He answers, son, if everyone in a foxhole who made the vow to God actually fulfilled it, there would be a population explosion of priests. I think God would understand if you do not fulfill this difficult promise. It's an interesting scene and a thought-provoking exchange between the young man and the seasoned priest. It is actually a conversation that might have taken place generations ago, however, a conversation that is directly tied to the opening words of the combined Torah reading that we study this Shabbat of Matot Maseh. Here it is, I'll set the scene for you. Moses, speaking to the heads of the Israelite tribes, declares the following, and this is Bamidbar 30, verse 3. This is the beginning of our parashah of Matot. Ish ki yidor neder ladonai, o hishava shavua le'esor isar al nafsho, lo yachel devaro b'chol hayotze mipiv ya'aseh. Which translates into, if a person makes a vow to Adonai or takes an oath imposing an obligation upon himself, that person shall not break his pledge, but must carry out all that he has said. If Father Mulcahy had that verse in front of him and was taking it literally, he's right, there would be a lot of priests. In the Torah and in our tradition, words, we know, are taken very seriously. One's word is binding. If a person makes a promise, undertakes to do or not to do a certain thing, he or she must keep that vow. And that's really the literal meaning of the verse that I just shared with you of Moses' words to the people. And at the same time, we know that the easiest thing in the world is to do what? Is to make a promise. Sometimes we make a promise with the best intentions of keeping it, but when it comes to actually fulfilling its undertakings, we often find it much more difficult than we thought. What happens if at some time later I come to regret a vow or an oath that I made, as the young man in the MASH scene did? When I made it, I had no earthly idea that it might impact my life in such a way that I would have to perhaps take it back. And perhaps like that young soldier talking to Father Mulcahy, I thought I meant what I said at the time. In the heat of the moment, my words seemed true, yet afterwards, it's easy that we realize that we cannot fulfill those words, or simply we just don't want to. So what can you do? Ignore the vow. That's one option, of course. Pretend the words I uttered were never said. Oh, I didn't really mean that. Yeah, I know, but I didn't really mean it. Like, put my fingers, right? Cross my fingers behind. I didn't really mean it. I didn't really mean it. And, I was just joking. That's usually what we often would say. I wasn't serious. You took me seriously? I wasn't serious. Now, contrary to the old saying, promises are made to be broken. You've heard that one before, probably. Jewish tradition teaches us that we cannot take our words so lightly. What is really at issue is the power of our words. Look at the name of our tradition gives to the Ten Commandments. We're going to read the Ten Commandments again in just a couple of weeks. And of course, the Ten Commandments obligate us to fulfilling God's mitzvot. And what are they called? They're called Aseret Hadibrot, the 10 words or utterances. Not even the word commandment, technically. Dibrot are words or utterances. The 10 let there be's of creation. There are 10 of them. Let there be light, and there was light, right? Those 10 let there be's of creation are called Asara Ma'amarot, literally Amar, from the word Amar, which means the 10 sayings. How does God really create? With words, with sayings, with the power of the word. That's how the world was created. So if every word or promise we uttered was simply left by the wayside, then of what value could any of the things we say really have? We damage our credibility and our relationship with others and our sense of personal integrity if we simply throw out our words and then put nothing behind them, right? Your word is your bond. You've heard that saying before. Well, the rabbis of the Talmud, in their infinite wisdom, understood just how important words are and just how difficult it can be to uphold the words that we use. So they developed a very involved process for dealing with our promises. According to the rabbis, if one made a vow that cannot be kept,
He or she was to come to a community leader, the head of a tribe, or a rabbi, or a respected counselor, or a teacher, and explore his or her internal feelings and motives, rethink and refeel the whole thing. You're supposed to go to somebody who could give them some sage advice, basically, who had some knowledge and could listen, and go over what was it that I said and how am I feeling about it. And what is searched for is something called a petach hatara, a door for regret. A sense that we've looked at our words with great seriousness and with the help of the community have given our words the respect they deserve. If through this process, say the rabbis, this process of soul-searching what we said, these words that we said, we find that release from the vow is actually the healthiest course of action. A Beit Din, a Jewish court of 3 people, is called together to perform Hatarat Nidarim, which literally is the annulment of the vow that we made. So the rabbis have this elaborate process to be able to release ourselves from these vows we make, but not before we look at them seriously. Can't just say, I was just joking. The rabbis want us to look at it seriously, take a process in trying to figure it out. And only after we could see that we had this petach hatara, this door for regret, would the Beit Din, a Jewish court of 3 people, come and say, okay, I'm going to annul the vow. Now think about it. Is there a process we have for this for us in modern times year-round? Well, in a couple of months, we're going to see. Because this process is played out every Yom Kippur. Think about it. What do we do? Right? Transport yourselves to Kol Nidre night. We stand and we recite this special Kol Nidre prayer. And what do we do? Kol Nidre, of course, literally means all of these vows. Kol Nidre, all of these vows that I've made. And it enacts this process of examining our words within the context of community. That's what Kol Nidre does. That's what that prayer is to do. That haunting melody is there to set the tone for us, to look at our words, to look at ourselves, to look at the things that we've done and said. And the formulation of the prayer itself acts as a form of Hatarat Nidarim, of annulling all of the vows we have not yet upheld in the past year. How is the prayer said? Those of you familiar, how is it said? What do we do? Are we sitting or standing? What are we doing? We're standing, right? Okay. And what's the scene? Is the ark open or closed? Open, generally. And even if it's closed, what are standing outside of the ark? We take the Torahs out. The Torahs are standing before the ark. They're being held by the congregation. And the Torahs, in essence, act as witnesses to our words and as members of our Jewish court. That's traditionally how we are to look at those Torahs. They are the Beit Din for us on Kol Nidre night. The power of Kol Nidre lies in the ability of each of us to see the value and power of the promises that we make and the words and the vows that we utter. The rabbis of the Talmud understood the message of the Torah reading from this Shabbat to mean that the words should never be taken lightly, even if situations change and avenues of release are available. So our challenge as Jews that we learn from the Torah reading and we learn from the understanding of the rabbis is to think about all that we say, to consider the promises that we make daily and the vows that we utter. We have to consider our words carefully, says our tradition, as if those pledges that we make are unbreakable. And by doing so, if we act in that way with the words that we utter, we uphold not only the power of our words, but certainly the power of God's words as well. And to that I will add the words, Shabbat Shalom. We move forward into our evening service as the cantor takes the Amud to lead us through the evening service. Tonight we just have our words and our music. We don't have the instruments that we normally have. Anthony is not able to be here tonight. And those of you who've been wondering where our percussionist, where Michael has been, he's out for a few more weeks, some surgery, so we wish him a refuah shlema. We look forward to his return. So tonight, it's us, it's our music, it's the words we utter, it's the tunes that we make with our voices that give us the power to find the spirit and joy of Shabbat. So if you'll turn and rise to the beginning of the evening service on page 39a, you'll find Baruch Hu as we call ourselves to worship together. 39a.
Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated.
Umahavir yom umevi laila umavdil ben yom uvein laila Adonai tzvaot shemo el chai v'kayam tamid yimluch aleinu le'olam vaed Baruch atah Adonai Ha'ma'ariv haravim.
Page 40, Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Chavata Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu v'shochbeinu uvekumenu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha uve'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki heim chayenu v'yorech yameinu v'yorech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla yomam v'layla v'ahavatecha atasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha ושירנתם לבניך, ודיברת בהם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך.
We read together in the English on the left side of the page, 41, V'ahavta together. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all that is yours. These words that I command you this day shall be taken to heart. Teach them again and again to your children. Speak of them when you sit in your home, when you walk on your way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand and as a symbol above your eyes. Inscribe them upon the doorposts of your homes and upon your gates. We turn over to page 44. There, right in the bold print, you will find our words "Michamocha" as we celebrate freedom, just as our ancestors did. Freedom from the toil of the week for us, freedom from Egypt as was for them. Page 44.
And let's use that melody that we learned earlier. You're pros by this point, right? Mm-hmm. Well, it'll probably take a few weeks, but I'm sure you'll be able to pick it up. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha ne'edar ba'kodesh norat tehilot. O Sefer Norat Tehilot, O Sefer Malchutecha, Ra'u v'necha, Bokei Hayam Lifnei Moshe, Ze Eli Anu ve'ameru, Adonai Yimloch Le'olam va'ed, Lai 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 Lai. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Malchutecha, Ra'u v'necha, Bokei Hayam Lifnei Moshe. Ze Eli Anu ve'ameru, Adonai Yimloch le'olam v'ed. La 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Adonai Yimloch le'olam v'ed, v'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov, uge'alo mi'ad chazak mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai Kol Yisrael.
Page 45, you'll find our second bracha for this evening after the Shema. It's the Hashkivenu prayer that asks for peace in our world. We join together in the English on the left side of the page, Hashkivenu together. Allow us, Adonai our God, to sleep peacefully. Awaken us to life, O Sovereign. Spread over us your canopy of peace. Restore us with your good counsel, and save us for the sake of your name. Shield us. Remove from us enemies, pestilence, sword, starvation, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you, God, watch over and deliver us. And you, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace, now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us, over all the people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Amen. We're on 45 towards the bottom in the Hebrew.
Let's carry that feeling of safety and trust like a baby being rocked to sleep. And let's remember that we can bring that to each other, that softness and that gentleness as we sing this particular prayer. Uferos aleinu sukkot, sukkot, shalom echad. Try it with me. Ufros aleinu sukkot, sukkot, shalom echad. Yalai lalai, yalai lalai, yalai lalai 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 lalai, yalai lalai, yalai lalai, yalai yalai lalai lalai. Uferos aleinu sukkot, sukkot, shalom echad. Baruch atah Adonai Haporei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Amo Yisrael V'al Yerushalayim.
Page 46, we rise as we join together in Vishamru.
V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת. Together. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם.
Middle of 46, Chatzi Kaddish.
יתקדש ויתקדש שמי רבה. ילמד דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי בכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב וימרו
Amen.
יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה.
Yitbarach.
יתברך וישתבח ויפור ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתעלה 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 שמי דקדושה. בריחו אלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמיהרן בעולמם ויאמרו אמן.
You'll find the silent Amidah for this evening beginning on page 47 through 52. As always, feel free to add your own personal thoughts, again, to the words, the importance of the words on the page, adding our own words to the words on the page. Page 47 through 52, and when you're through, you're welcome to be seated. Again, when you're through, you're welcome to be seated.
Oh, say shalom, shalom b'miromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Oh, say shalom, shalom b'miromav, hu ya'aseh shalom.
Middle of 52.
Hu yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'lekol Yisrael, ve'yimeru amen. Oh, say shalom, shalom b'miromav, hu yaseh shalom. Oh, say shalom, shalom b'miromav, hu yaseh shalom. Hu yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'yimeru amen, amen. Oh, say shalom, shalom b'miromav, hu yaseh shalom.
Our Amidah always ends with a prayer for shalom, for peace, whether it's shalom rav or oseh shalom. It's a reminder to us to make the world a better place by bringing those disparate pieces together to one piece, P-E-A-C-E, to making shalom between ourselves and one another and into the world. So keep that in mind. As we turn forward in our Siddur to 173, we know that part of the search for shalom is healing, both spiritual and physical and actually emotional as well. You'll find our Misha Berach for healing, the Debbie Friedman version, page 173 towards the left, as we join and add special prayer again for all those in need of healing in all forms.
Misha Beirach Avotenu Mekor Habracha Motenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Beirach limotenu mekor habracha avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Refuah Shalema. We turn back in our Siddur to page 54. There you will find Kaddish Shalem.
Yitkada v'yitkada shomei rabba v'yalamadi v'rachirutei v'yamlich machutei v'chayeichonu v'yomeichonu v'chaydecho b'Yisrael ba'agala v'zman kari v'yimeru.
Amen.
Yehi shmei rabba mevorach le'olam hulal me'al maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpuar v'yitruman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalash midei kudeshah. Brichu li'ela min kol berchata v'yishata tushbechata v'nechemata v'yiran pe'ama v'yimeru.
Amen.
Yehi shlomo rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Oseh shalom mimromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimeru. Amen.
On page 55, you will find Kiddush for Shabbat as we lift a cup of wine in celebration and enjoy, and it's bringing the sweetness to our Shabbat. Page 55, we rise.
Thank you very much.
Come join me.
We'll bring it together.
Page 55.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafel.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה וראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen. Chaim. We remain standing as we turn to page 56 for Aleinu as we go into the concluding part of our service.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המודם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. הוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר ומושב יקרו בשמיים וימעל ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך. כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל והארץ מתחת אלינו. Okay, נקבל לך אדוני אלוהינו ונהירה. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד ושמו echad.
You may be seated. As we prepare to recite Kaddish Tom, our mourner's Kaddish this evening, we continue to keep in our thoughts as we go through the Shloshim period. We continue to keep in our thoughts Rabbi Aryeh Scheinberg, Beverly Selasky, and Lindsay Demeshki. We also mention the names of those whose yortzites occur today or this evening and the week that will be coming. Sarah Block, Lena Brownstein, Ida Cohen, Zalman Goldberg, Abraham Goldberg, Sidney Goldstein, Phyllis Gordon, Max Halpin, Morris Hirschman, Joseph Kelman, Simon Kerman, Leo Levitt, Ann Malotsky, David Olian, Catherine Pettit, Jack Pokres, Abe Pressman, Patty Rosenberg Soloff, Albert Rosenthal, Philip Schwartz, B. Shannon, Joshua Simon, Muriel Spiegel, and Ben Wilk. Those reciting Kaddish Tome, the Mourner's Kaddish, you'll find it on page 58. If there's names that I did not recite, you're welcome to recite them aloud at this moment, or certainly within your hearts as we join those reciting on 58. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Bialma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olomei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudisha b'richu, La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. May be seated. Just have a few, actually have a lot of announcements, but I'll highlight just a few of them. Of course, we always have our morning minyan, Sundays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays in person. One more week, Mondays and Thursdays will remain on Zoom and live stream. Weekdays, of course, at 7:30 and Sundays at 9. We are going to end our Zoom minyanim on July 19th, so a week from Monday. Everything will be streamed on the website and through YouTube only. We won't be going through Facebook, but it will be streamed and we will be live here in person. So we encourage you to come help make a minyan in person. And as Ira and I have been talking about, a little bit of breakfast after, especially on that first Monday as we celebrate being back for full minyan each day here in the building. So please keep that in mind. And if you're coming, and come through the school wing early in the morning, they know to have you come in through that entrance. So as always, we hope you can help come make a minyan. Don't forget, 9:15 tomorrow morning for our Shabbat morning service, and it is Rosh Chodesh this evening as well. So and tomorrow, so we add our special prayers for Rosh Chodesh and Hallel tomorrow into our service. Couple other quick highlights. Don't forget, we do have our Journey into Judaism class. I'm continuing to teach it it's been started in January, but you can join at any point if you're interested. You can continue to teach it through the summer. We may take a couple of weeks off coming up, but we are meeting this week as well, and we're continuing our study and discussion of Shabbat. So if you're interested, please come join us. 7:30, we are doing it via Zoom. You can contact me if you need the link to join us. A few other things really quickly. Please remember that the Tisha B'Av service will be coming up. We are in our 3 weeks. We're in our second week of the 3 weeks prior to Tisha B'Av, and so we hope you'll join us to commemorate the destruction of the temples, other tragedies throughout Jewish history. Saturday evening, the 17th, July 17th at 9 p.m. we'll be here. We'll have a brief Havdalah, and we'll study, we'll do the evening service and study Megillat Eicha, which is Lamentations. And of course, Sunday morning, there'll be Shachrit as part of Tisha B'Av observance the next morning. A couple other things to remember. We are indeed updating our Mishaberach for Cholim. If you know of names that need to be taken off the list, please let us know. We know that you know to add whenever you need to, but we want to be able to have an accurate list. If you know someone who has already attained that sense of healing that they needed, we wanted to be able to take them off and celebrate the fact that they are not on our Mishaberach list for that reason. So if you know of someone, please let the office know. Don't forget, IPRS registration is going on as well. So I hope you'll be back here. Those of you with kids or grandkids or any kids, or you're a kid at heart and want to come, we'll take you probably. And you can join us for our new school year coming up in August. Finally, a couple other really important things. We do offer a support network for members who have experienced a loss. We've had a lot of loss in this community since my arrival, I know, a year ago. And we have a wonderful group facilitated by Flora Garb with over 40 years of experience in grief and loss counseling. She's doing this out of the goodness of her heart. And Susan Gordon got this going for us. So it's a wonderful network of friends who can come and just talk once a month together. So call the office for more information if you'd like to join the group. Again, it's a once a month experience. And right now it's on Zoom, but I know it will be moving hopefully in person fairly soon. Don't forget, again, Book of Remembrance, get your submissions in, and you can also purchase your high holiday parking spaces if you'd like. Those are all, you can look at your email, weekly email for those information and pull off what you need to do to sign up for those things. And finally, keep our Welcome Back weekend on your calendar, August 20th through the 22nd. Save the date. There'll be installation of us as new clergy and a kickoff to all of our year and person events, something for all ages and stages. So we hope you will be here to welcome friends back into the building and celebrate that we can be together as a community. With that, we're going to end. I want to thank Arlene for getting us going this evening with our Kabbalat Shabbat and then helping out throughout the service. And of course, Cantor Ken leading us through Mariv and helping us out throughout the service as well. And all of you for adding to the spirit. We will learn some of those melodies and incorporate them into our tefillah as we go. So page, are we doing Yigdal?
Yigdal.
Good. Page 58, you will find
Wait a minute, I gotta
Yigdal as we, 62 rather. You will find Yigdal as we conclude this evening. And we hope, I think there's a nosh in the back if you'd like to hang around for just a few minutes and say hello to friends. We hope you will. Page 62.
Yigdal Elohim Chai v'yishabach nimsa v'einet el metziuto echad ve'en yechid ke'ichudo le'lam gam ein sof le'aduto ein lo demut haguf ve'eino guf lo na'aroch elav kedushato kadman lechol davar asher nivra rashon v'reshit l'reshito hino adonam v'chol notzar yorei keturato malchuto Shefan nevuato netano hanshek sgulato v'tifarto
Lo kam b'Yisrael k'Moshe od navi u'mahapit et emunato
Torat emet natan la'amoel hayad nevi'o neman beito
Lo yachalif ha'el v'lo yamir dato le'olamin le'zirato
So favio dea setarenu mabit lesof davar bekadmato
גומר איש חסד במפעלו נותן רשע כרשעתו
ישלח לקץ ימים משיחנו לבדוק מחכה קץ ישועתו
מתים יחייר ברוב חסדו ברוך אדוני שם תהילתו
מתים יחיה ברוב חסדו ברוך הדיין שם תהילתו
Shabbat Shalom. Hey,
Shabbat Shalom
Shabbat
Shabbat Shabbat Shabbat Shalom Shabbat Shalom
Hey,
Shabbat Shalom
Hey,
Shabbat 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 Shalom
Shabbat
Shabbat
Shabbat Shabbat Shalom Shabbat 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 Shalom Shabbat Shalom
Hey,
Shabbat Shalom
Hey,
Shabbat 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 Shabbat
Shalom
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Yasher Koach, and thank you, Brian, for being an usher in the back. We appreciate it greatly.
You sound great.
I think they use this tomorrow, so I'll leave it there.
Oh yeah. Never a service without it.
It's Shabbat Shalom.
Well, again, enjoy this weekend. I'll see you Monday. And stay well. So, do you like Taliesin? We're not really on Friday. Because I'm like a non-colorist normally. Good, perfect. You saved me.
As rabbi,
That sounds good. Hi. How are you? Thank you. Thank you. So good to see you. Oh. Well, I hope you feel good. I do. So how are you? Thank you. Well, it's nice to be here. You're all situated, kind of? Yeah. I'm getting the hang of like where things are. Military, highways, and Huebner, and then Bitters, and then they come up behind me. I'm like, why are you like? So what I tend to do is like, if they're gonna, you know, ask this like gently pull over. But I need a lot of aggression. People are like speeding. Big trucks, those trucks, like, I'm in a camera. We're in truck city. No, I'm like, did I buy a Japanese car or did I buy an American car? I do, sure. I just don't eat meat, fish, vegetables. No. I heard that was good, right? So where do you like to go from this? Oh, let me get my phone. Come here.
My family likes going to El Haro.
El Toro?
El Haro.
Haro? H-A-R-O?
El Haro. Wait, it's
That will require this microphone over there if he ever comes to this.
El Haro. Yeah. Right, Mindy, El Haro.
El Haro.
We're talking about Mexico.
Cantor. I know. Yes, I know. Yes, and they're still on. So there are, people out there are listening to us for 5 more minutes.
Man, these things are really interesting.
Well, what's cooking is this is not long enough. I'm noticing you're doing this.
I'm still doing that? Let me see. You can
If you have it right here, it's but I can. It's not expensive. We can get one that's longer that you can be back here and still down to your mouth.
That's good.
And I need to see you over here.
Okay, well,
Well, I know it's a longer, but that's the same size. These are both 18s.
yeah.
They make them 24.
Okay.
I probably need to.
Testing 1, 2. We have windscreens?
I have to get new windscreens. I just
Oh,
put it off
oh,
to
yeah,
put it on
that's a
there
good
because
idea.
I kept hearing.
Yeah, I heard that.
from your mouth.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And people, I know you're still hearing me, but this is a professional discussion. I don't know. I'm thinking a 22 for that one, 24 maybe, because you can push it away. And,
That's good.
And then maybe switch these into here, and that one will be here by next week if it's in stock.
Okay. You're amazing.
No, I'm just going to buy it and all the rest of it.
Good idea. I like it. There we go. Go rogue.
I've already told Craig.
Craig knows.
I know, I've already told Craig I need to let this.